Here we go. All right, good morning. I am again meeting with Mrs. Pierno, our lead teacher in pre-K at Holy Trinity, and we are going to debrief about the standard 4 and 5 video I did on Cheerio counting from 1 to 100. And luckily, Chrissy was in the classroom with me, as you see in the video, and she was a big help because we had, I don't know if we had maybe we had the entire class, I can't remember if anyone was out, but it was a big class, and now looking back, maybe not something with the whole class, been better with smaller groups, but to remind you, I did the Cheerio counting with a long piece of paper with 10 circles, and we're skip counting, so 10, 20, 30, 40, etc. I had 10 Cheerios go into each circle, and started off with the Cheerio book, as you remember, which I liked. And then, so I sat over there and then did the sticks to get everyone to sit down. Is that something you would do for the stick? Like,
for sure.
It took a long time to, it takes longer, but.
Yeah, I mean, then it's like kind of random. Or
yeah.
A lot of time if you're worried about time.
Looking back, I probably would have done them because the lesson was long.
Sure.
But once everyone sat down, I made a point not to put things in front of them. Clearly, the piece of paper, or definitely the Cheerios. But of course, we still gave them a piece of paper. Looking back at the video, like papers were like flying around. So I don't know how I can even try to eliminate that. I don't know if you can, or maybe it's just authority and being stronger and saying hands in your lap. But I like the idea of the Cheerios and the counting. I think when I was showing them, I was actually at this table. In hindsight, it would be good to put circles on the whiteboard and had magnets and pretend those are the Cheerios so everyone can see. Because looking back, then I see, like, of course, Madeline standing up and kids standing up to see what I was doing. Because I was kind of even in an awkward place in the room. What do you think? Like, looking back, what would you think would be a better way to show the class what we're doing?
So yeah, definitely the whiteboard, because from anywhere where they would be sitting, they can see that. Or like ones with their back turned, they could turn around to look. But I think like starting with the book was great because then they're like already thinking of Cheerios and already thinking of counting, like skip counting by Cheerios.
Right.
So I love when lessons start with the book and then go into the lesson because it's a great connection. I think, yeah, like depending on however you want to call the kids over, you can just like change it for method every time. So if you don't feel like the sticks went well, then you can change it the next time.
Right, yeah, right.
And for the demo, yeah, I would probably just put it up there or like, or show them so there's less time. Because with these guys, and especially this class, all of their attention spans are like less than 5 minutes. So that has, for like when times when I really do need to explain something, I try to like wire them up, calm them down to get their attention right away. And I think you had their attention for a while, but then like the demo, I think it could have been shortened. Right. Like
sure,
your demo could have been shortened, or like kind of, and then just like let them go. And I think if you do notice, like you look back and you think about it, you do notice it's like, oh wow, like it was how long until they actually got Cheerios, until they actually, right. And so a couple things is like you could have done the agreement about Cheerios before you got to the tables. Yeah. You could have done like, hey, remember our rules, you get one after, and then they could be remembering, oh yeah, like I'm at the tables now, but like I already know that I'm gonna get to have Cheerios at the end. So like kind of the anticipation kind of helps keep their attention too.
And I didn't even plan for like the cups and all that because I planned like we were all going to finish at the same time. I don't know why I thought that. And I thought like then you could have like one circle, but then I see how, some kids are absolutely normal, slower than other kids doing this lesson. I was like, okay. So then I had, when kids started finishing, the ones who finished early, I was like, just make a design out of your Cheerios. Like, make a smiley face just to keep them occupied until others were done. And then in my head, I was like, okay, let me get the cups, and then So that was all kind of like going by the fly.
Yeah, and it is good that you can throw those things in, but in the planning process to account, like now, I think going forward, like you'll probably account for, okay, is there something to do when these kids are done?
Right.
And usually, like, which I should be better at too, is like, go get a book, help your friends clean up, or check for trash, or wash the table, like, those are go-tos for me, and I bet I could probably do better academic, like, secondary thing, like, when you're done pile, or, because I've seen with other older grades, but pre-K it's tricky.
Right.
Because there are some kids that finish early, but then depending on the lesson, how early is that, and do you really want them moving all around, there's a lot of factors.
Right. Sure.
But I think, like, overall it went well, from like being there and being a part of it, and I think that with the whole class size, the way it was good that we were both there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would never do like a whole class lesson probably like without a second teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like checking in, especially with
Right,
lessons like
yeah.
this where it is very like fine motor, and a lot of like, there's kind of like some other skills that we either already learned or already practiced leading up to this,
Right.
which is good, but if some of the kids don't fully have those, like counting by tens or like get to the full 10.
It was interesting that how some couldn't, and I would think that as much as I feel like we've done, I mean, we haven't done a whole lot, but that I was actually surprised and interesting to how many.
Some had like 8 or 9 or like
Yeah.
12.
Or like even after the instructions, after I thought they would just put one Cheerio in each circle. Then would my question to you, since it did take a long time and there's so many things you could cut out, I guess still the point is to do all 10 circles. So you really think about cutting the instructions things ahead of time so you can actually do that. Because it'd be kind of, how can you just do 5 circles and then call it like, and then be done with the lesson? You really need to do
Unless your objective for the lesson is to only get to the
Right.
Like if you wanted to have a really short lesson and to just practice counting by tens, and the goal wasn't to get to 100, you could have done 50. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like,
Yeah.
again, it's kind of thinking like, you wanted to get to 100, you wanted to count by tens. And it's just funny because some kids were there ready to count to 10 and do it 10 times, and some kids were not, or like lost interest. And that's the kind of thing that you can only plan so much for too, right? Like,
Right.
someone to only get to 8 in each circle and too lazy to go back and like not interested in going back and recounting them.
Exactly.
Those are the ones that you can't really count for, or like at least knowing that from this experience, you'll know, okay, well, we've got all these different levels of ability and interest and like buy-in. And that buy-in can come from that beginning of that lesson. So when they know that there's Cheerios at the end, when they know that you just read a great book, they love that book, they get to now do Cheerios on a mat, that's fun, it's their own thing.
Right.
There are just so many factors, but I think like overall, like,
the concept, I liked it. I liked the
I
whole
liked the
Cheerio.
lesson.
Yeah,
for sure.
But there's lots of things you could fine tune it. And it'd be interesting to do it again, maybe like towards, in May when it
And I've done like jelly beans. That is one that we've done with like different colors and sorting out the colors. And then like almost graphing, but same idea with tiny pieces that are edible.
Yeah, right.
Very enticing.
Yes.
And then like something on a worksheet or a mat. Or counting individual tiny things, not triple counting, not double, and that is that one-to-one correspondence that like so many of them are still struggling with. And it's been a tough year, I would say, like, but we can get into it later. But I think your lesson overall, like, kind of thinking through, okay, how did the explanation go? How did the demo go? Like, for instance, if you had just maybe done one up here, right? Because one thing I've learned is like, if you show them how not to do it, some of them will just do that, like absentmindedly or on purpose. Right. So if you just show them the way you want it to be, right? So like you put 10 Cheerios in a circle. Right. And say, okay, right? And you don't show them one in each one, or you don't even suggest that.
Yeah, right.
You kind of just feed all of their ideas to that one. It kind of helps cut down on the one in each circle. So that kind of thing, just kind of like learning from, like, you don't really ever ask how not to do it. Yeah, that's just the way it is. Because half of them are going to do it that way, just because that was one of the things that they noticed. You know what I mean? Or and so, but those are just little things that like in hindsight, right, if you thinking in your like planning for next time.
Yeah, right. It's interesting as much as to see yourself on video, but it's really helpful. I knew it was long.
How long did it end up being?
It was just long.
As well.
Long time. I think the whole thing from reading like 32 minutes or something.
Yeah, and that's also another live and learn, right? Like,
Yeah.
how much were you talking? How much were kids working?
Yeah, I think it was like 16. I think I got 16 minutes. That I actually was doing the instruction. I think it was about 16, 12 or 16.
Right, and I would probably clock their attention.
Yeah.
But, you know what I mean?
Seriously,
And so
yeah.
thinking back, like, you can't blame them for getting distracted or wanting to like do
No,
other things
right.
because they lost you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or some of them did, and some of them are like still with you. You know, those couple who are. But
Yeah.
overall, you kind of, and it is hard, right, to teach to the middle. Sometimes it is what I've heard called too, because like you need to get the ones up here and to get the ones
Right,
down here.
right.
Like by now we know that we have a variance of abilities in our class.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, how do you plan each lesson with room down here, with room up here, and then basically you want everybody to get this.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
course.
It was really helpful, and again, helpful to have you in the classroom too.
Oh yeah,
Because
for
you
sure.
wouldn't want
I'll
to
be
watch
here for
a
all.
32-minute video.
Well, I'll be here for all.
All right. That is it.
Thanks.
See you later.